Welcome to One Brooklyn, presented by Brooklyn Borough President Eric L. Adams. On this edition of One Brooklyn, Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams joins with the second graders of PS 29 in their school garden for a celebration of National Pollinator Week.
This is, teachers like you. My significant other is an educator, and I know great educators, and you're one of them. You know that. How's it going, guys?
Good.
Ladies, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
You know. Oh, you like you one of these? Good energy. And the bee in the back. How are you?
Good.
Got your little bee. What are these called for bees? Antennas. When I learned about the importance of bees, I was just reading, and I was hearing that the bees are disappearing. And then I started to realize after I read more, I said, wait a minute, without the bees, we can't cross-pollinate. We don't get the fruits and the vegetables and all the things we like to eat. So sometimes we say, get that bee out of here. I don't do that anymore. Now when I see a bee, I just kiss it. Mwah. Thank you. Love them,
Does it sting you?
Yes.
It sting you, what?
Yes,
What's happening here today is that we're celebrating National Pollinator Week at PS 29 in Brooklyn, where we have a beautiful pollinator garden that is a host to bees and butterflies that are buzzing around here. And thanks to Tina Aprea Reres, who is the second grade science teacher here, actually the science teacher for the school, she's built a beautiful outdoor classroom where children come outdoors and they learn about pollinators and the importance of restoring habitat for them. And she is part of the Growing a Wild NYC program, which is a program of the National Wildlife Federation, the National Park Service, and Battery Park, and a number of other partners who are bringing students outside to their local national park to learn about pollinators, learn about why it's so important to restore habitat for them, and then they are collecting seeds, bringing them inside, germinating them, growing seedlings, and bringing them back to the park to plant native flowering plants for our pollinators. So they're actually restoring real pollinator habitat. These kids are doing it, and they've created an educational pollinator garden out at Jamaica Bay Wildlife Refuge and in Floyd Bennett Field in Brooklyn. And we have 9 schools in Brooklyn that are part of the program this year, 4 schools in Queens and 1 school in Manhattan. And we've educated thousands of students about the importance of pollinators and how we can plant for them and restore their habitat.
The second grade students from PS 29 joined the Brooklyn Borough President as he held a press conference for Growing Wild New York City Pollination Recovery Program.
Thank you all so much for being here. I want to welcome Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams. I want to welcome our staff from the National Wildlife Federation. I want to thank Principal Fagan for hosting us here. I want to thank Tina Aprea Reres and her students for being here with us today. And I want to thank all of you reporters for coming and covering this wonderful event. My name is Emily Fano, and I run the New York City Eco Schools program for the National Wildlife Federation. We work with schools all across New York City to get students outdoors and engaged with nature, and get them engaged in green STEM, and to bring the outdoors into the classroom and to bring them out into the world to help restore pollinator habitat, which is so important. We know that this week is National Pollinator Week. There are celebrations all across the country. We just lit up the Empire State Building in yellow and black stripes like a bumblebee with Damon John of Shark Tank. If anybody knows Damon John. He was there with us today because he loves bumblebees too, and he's a beekeeper, and he's really concerned about the fact that pollinators are declining all around the world, and we are helping them by restoring critical habitat for them through programs like the Growing a Wild NYC program right here in New York City with Tina's school and 14 other schools in the city. And so it's really important that we restore habitat for pollinators because 1 out of every 3 bites of food that we eat comes from pollinators like bees and bats and butterflies and birds. And so the reason that we're here today is that Borough President Adams has taken a really important step in signing the National Wildlife Federation's Mayor's Monarch Pledge. And so what the Mayor's Monarch Pledge is a commitment from mayors and elected officials across the country to pledge to create and restore pollinator habitat in their cities and towns. And to also educate the community about the importance of pollinators and restoring habitat for them. And you can restore habitat for them in schools, in parks, in your backyard, in little window boxes, wherever you can find a spot to plant for pollinators, you can do it. And so Borough President Adams has taken the really important step of signing our pledge with 300 other mayors across the country. And this pledge from Brooklyn is the largest single pledge in the United States of any city in the United States. Number one! Brooklyn is officially the coolest borough in New York City. And I can say that because I live in Manhattan and I don't mind saying that. So this is a great moment. And I wanted to, I'm going to turn it over to Principal Fagan in a minute, and then we're going to hear from Tina, and then we're going to hear from the Borough President, and then from Ranger Dan, who's here from the National Park Service, who is a key partner of ours, because the Growing a Wild NYC program is a collaboration with the National Park Service, the Battery Park, and a number of other really important partners. And so I'm going to turn it over to Principal Fagan first, and then she'll introduce Tina.
Well, thank you so much, Emily. And I just want to say we are so honored to be standing here today with you in our school's garden, in PS 29 Garden. Our second graders are surrounding us right now because they've been working really hard, and I think that a lot of this is about who we are. You know, it's about coming together as community. It's about understanding how to create these incredible partnerships and connect the dots to all of these resources. And really, it's so much about, you know, who our teachers are. So I think the impact that teachers have on our students, and then, you know, on their lives and their families' lives, and thinking about who we want our children to be, and how to raise children to have this awareness and take action, is really there's nothing more important to us than that. So I just want to also just introduce you to Tina Reres, who's our science teacher, who's kind of the brains and the heart behind a lot of the work that we do here. And this is Tina.
Yeah, Tina.
Hi. I just have a few words, and basically our garden started 10 years. And as you know, I always get choked up. And it started on the other side. It was just 4 small beds. And I just felt I couldn't teach science and make the connection to the real, you know, the science that is in our everyday. I can't have children grow a plant and then watch it die in the classroom when there's so much that you could do by bringing it outside. You can watch the pollinators, you can watch the little tiny flower turn into a seed or a tomato. So I think this was a program that kind of opened my eyes to just say it's not just important to plant flowers, but to plant flowers that will attract the pollinators. And this is perfect because they visit our flowers and then they go to the tomato flower and then we have tomatoes. So making that connection, and also having children know that we tell them about, you know, the world around us, but having solution is what we want to empower them. And this is an easy solution. And I told them they could put a bird bath outside their house, or plant a little seed, or go to a park and drop a seed ball. And so everyone can involve in planting. So this is where it is. And these guys are amazing. They've been involved throughout the year, and they're a second graders.
Yeah, give yourself a hand.
And you know, it has spread to third graders. They actually took care, and they took care of an endangered bumblebee, and now they sold bracelets and they raised awareness. So it's spreading, and that's what we want to do with this program. And thank you to everyone involved.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tina. So now we're going to hear from Borough President Adams.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You know, and I think Tina stated, and we want our children to be just like bees. And what is taking place here is amazing, and is the true experience of applied science. Should not remain in the small walls of a classroom, but these children have an imperative to be out among the real things that's going to impact the universe that they're going to be a part of. We want not only the bees to cross-pollinate, but we want them to cross-pollinate in ideas and love and mindfulness and thoughtfulness and caring. And they gave me 3 packets of seeds that I'm going to plant and contribute in a very small way of how do I help the pollinators. How do we do this in the right way? We have 2 mothers. One gave birth to us, and the other is Mother Earth. We must take care and nurture and love Mother Earth just as well. And that love is done every time we plant a seed that allows Mother Earth to do her thing to cross-pollinate with bees and butterflies and caterpillars. So we are excited about this initiative. And my commitment to the school and to these children is that we will use our capital dollars to put this program in every school in Brooklyn. So because of today, we're going to cross-pollinate this idea throughout the entire borough, and we're going to name it after this great, fantastic teacher that understood how important it is and what we need to do. So thank you, students. You have really taught me something today, and we have a proclamation that we are going to give to you in your school. Okay. On behalf of all Brooklynites, I salute PS 29 John M. Harrigan School in Cobble Hill for being a participant in this great Growing a Wild New York City Pollinator Recovery Program in partnership with the National Park Service and others. Through this leadership of science, we are teaching our children the importance of living together, not only with mankind, but living kind. Based on 2.6 million Brooklynites, I thank you as the Brooklyn Borough President, and I proclaim this week as National Pollination Week in Brooklyn, USA. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much, Borough President Adams. That is so exciting. Give you guys a big hand. Very exciting. So exciting. And thank you, Tina, so much for nurturing this beautiful garden and making it an example of what's possible in our schools. Thank you so much. Yes, I'd love to bring Ranger Dan Maharg up to the podium. He is a key partner. The National Park Service is a key partner in the Growing a Wild NYC program, and I'd like for him to say a few words.
A real park ranger.
So I want to build on something that the Borough President was saying. You kids are all acting as connectors for us, cross-pollinators, between our national park, Gateway National Recreation Area, and Brooklyn. So at the end of Flatbush Avenue, we have Floyd Bennett Field, and we have acres and acres of what now is grass, and it's not great habitat for pollinators. But what we're doing with you kids every year is collecting seeds and growing those seeds in the classroom, bringing them back to Floyd Bennett Field, and then restoring that habitat so that pollinators can fly between Cobble Hill and Floyd Bennett Field. So you guys are acting as the connectors between what you're growing at your schoolyard gardens and our national park. And you're making that park and your schoolyard a healthier habitat for pollinators. So I just want to thank you all for the hard work that you're all doing. So thank you very much.
If you are a New York City teacher interested in participating in the WILD program, or are a sponsor or volunteer interested in supporting the program, you can contact the National Wildlife Federation or the National Park Service. Growing a Wild New York City is a fun and educational program for the kids that they really enjoy. So get more information.
Okay, did you guys work in the garden? What'd you think of it?
It was fun.
Yeah? What was your favorite part?
Well, I liked weeding and like finding pollinators and describing them. My favorite part was turning the soil, and I also love to find all the fruit in the.
How about you? What'd you like about it?
I like to look at the bees over there and turn the soil and weed it.
Yeah, you like helping the bees out?
Yeah, it's actually really fun that we get to see bees and butterflies a lot. And it's cool that they're going to light up the Empire State Building tonight in black and white stripes, just like Bumblebee. It's also really fun we get to see the president. In science, we made food packets, and we get to